And that's... Hi, and welcome back to That's So Nova. My name is Nova. If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is a returning subscriber, thank you for coming back. Today we're going to do a tutorial from Country Cow. I don't know if I have done a Country Cow tutorial on here yet. I don't believe so. I've been wanting to. Joe's patterns and Adam's patterns are sublime. So I recently showed you the box that they had for the Ojyma from Country Cow, and it was designed by Amy Hutton of Bed Hogs. The name of the bag is Amy's name and Joe's name backwards. It's super cute. I wanted to do a tutorial for this, although Country Cow does have one of the best tutorials out for this, and it's very relatable. I just wanted to show you guys how I would put together a nerdy version of the bag. I don't know if you're on Facebook, but you may have been seeing this bag float around, and it's really a perfect bag to have as an everyday bag, as a gift to give a teacher, or I can see it to be a small messenger bag for a little kid that loves Legos or Minecrafts. There's endless opportunities. We have a flap that has a magnetic snap, a cargo pocket in the front. On the back, we have another magnetic snap as a slip pocket. And let me bring you down here. We have a slip pocket. Let me open this up. We have a slip pocket. And then we have a zipper pocket, and it's done together with binding. The reason why, and it uses a 1.5 inch hardware. I'm going to be using 1 inch hardware because that's what I had available. So that's my spin on it. One of the things I'm going to attempt to do is something Joe had in her video. When she binds, she likes to put both parts of the binding together and sew around. And if she misses a piece, then she'll go back and re-sew that piece. That's exactly what I'm trying to plan today too, because binding, I love how it gives it structure to a bag, but I hate going around and then going around again. But I digress. We shall try, and if I mess up, it's okay. I'll just go around again. Today in this video, it's going to be maybe a little chaotic. Knock on wood, it's not. I'm doing this first thing in the morning. There's no children, no husband around, just my 2 puppies. And hopefully nobody knocks on the door or they look out the window and start barking. If so, I'll stop, come back, and resume. But it's all me today. You could probably tell that there's different angles I've been wanting to try based off of some feedback that I got, like having like more direct shots into the throat of the machine where I'm doing the project and have a closer shot of my face so you can see my weird hand gestures. Without further ado, I'm going to be making this bag, and I'm going to be using fabric called from BackStitch fabrics, and it's their 11th hour fabric for Stranger Things. It comes out, I believe, on October 1st or the 3rd, and they have the round pre-orders open until that Friday, I believe. So from this Monday, Monday's the 3rd, to this Friday coming up. And it's either the round's going to open the whole week or until they have caps. Caps means that they have a limitation of what they're doing so they don't oversell things and are, exhausted from packing and shipping it. I get a lot of people asking me, how did I get into strikes? If you're in Facebook groups, most companies will put out like a call. Like, hey, we're looking for artists who make all kinds of things, clothing, quilts, bag making, shoes, cups, you name it, stuffed animals. And you apply, and then if they pick you, you get fabric from them, and you have a time frame to create an item. And then you go around and you basically show and share your project and it interests people to buy stuff. But the Stranger Things round, super good. Like I rewatched Stranger Things just recently within the past week or two, and it's really, really cute, the fabric. So without further ado, let's go down to here. So we have this beautiful book, and this booklet came with the box. She does have, you can get the PDF pattern. I'll put the information down below. She's using in her pattern, she's using wax canvas, cotton, and waterproof canvas. I'll be using Kona cotton, well, the quilter cotton, waterproof canvas, and some faux leather. So we're going to start, and basically she does show the interior in the anatomy of the bag, similar to what I showed, where it's just, you know, you can see the main panel, cargo pocket, and everything. And it's really great to have these pieces shown. I love when artists and designers put like the anatomy of the bag. Therefore, I can really like fill it out and be like, hey, I want my cargo pocket to be this, or I want my slip pocket to look like this. It helps. So let's start. I should have all the pieces. I did double check, but we all know me. I'm notorious for forgetting pieces. So let me get the tabs. I just had them, don't disappear. Okay, I put all my pattern pieces with the actual piece, and then I take my pattern piece and I'm going to put it behind me because it's going to go into a folder. These are meant to be fold in to itself, so you're going to go over. But again, I'm going to be using 1 inch hardware, so I'm going to reduce these down to 2. Right now they're 3 by 3. I'm going to reduce it by 2 by 3. I'm just going to take a pen and draw on my 2-inch mark. And this is a good thing to learn for when you're like sewing and you have to make modifications right on the spot. It's really important to know how to. So I'm going to cut this. And these little 1-inch pieces that I'm cutting, I don't throw away. I will use them in the backing of like rivets or what have you. All right, so we have our 2 pieces. We're going to get some double-sided tape and stick it down the middle. My double-sided tapes always have like tons of thread all over it. So I'm going to stick it down the middle. And finger pressing it. The ends are, the long ends are going to butt up against each other. I'm going to be using my zipper foot for most of the bag, and then when it comes down to construction of the bag, I will change over to my composition foot. So bear with me with the transitions. I know it's nowhere as near as fast as my husband does it. I'm going to be using a 3-stitch length. I'm using 40 weight thread, gradient thread. This, I'm not too sure where I got this particular gradient thread. I believe, don't quote me, where I got this company is no longer around, and I actually found it when I was like cleaning out my scrap bin, and I was like, holy heck. It's a different color gradient. It's like mostly greens and blues and purples. I'm using iridescent hardware, so I was like, why not? Let's see if it's going to act right today. It's a 40 weight. It's strong, not as strong as like what I get from Ahmed or Saba. It's strong though. Trimming my threads. Then I'm going to grab my D-rings. And I'm going to slip this onto it. Make sure that you're slipping the right sides into it and not the other sides that are opening, that has like the split opening. And we're going to stitch down the bottom of the, see, I almost did it wrong on camera. We're going to stitch down the bottom of the bag tabs, and I'm going to stitch down also the top, because I can get really, really close with this foot. So I'm going to do a couple stitches back and forth so there's no shifting. But with these particular D-rings, because there is a straight thing, it never shifts. But I guess I'm just used to doing that with D-rings. So if you don't have like this bar, I got these at Wizardly Stitchery. If you don't have the bar, just get as close as you can so that way it doesn't constantly like go through the loop. I'm going to mark a 1/2 inch up on both of them. I'm using a Dritz fine point pen. The way you erase it, it comes with a company pen, and it's like a water that, it's like a formula they use. You can erase it. So I'm going to place these two on the side for right now. I'm going to grab my webbing. I'm using a cotton webbing, and it's this beautiful, like really beautiful brown color. I'm going to use some Fray Check on the inside and out, just dapping it. And I'm going to grab one of those 1-inch piece, and I'm going to put it on top and fold it over so it's even. And I'm going to top stitch a row of stitches at the very edge, back stitching the beginning and end. And I'm going to grab and do the same thing on the other end. I'm going to put Fray Check. You can use another glue. I use whatever usually is around me. Fray Check's right here, so why not? While we're doing this, if you're using cotton webbing and not like a polyurethane, it can fray. And to help prevent it not from fraying, you can add little scraps of fabric, or you can use bag. There are strap ends you can use. There's some super cute ones out there. But if you're trying to save a little money, because let's say you're selling these at a craft show or Christmas bazaar or whatever, this is a very cost effective, and it uses those scraps, you know, that we all have laying around. It gives it a really chic look too. See, your ends are now concealed. We're going to now feed. We're going to now feed our tri-glider up and under the bar. So it should look like this. It's just wrapped around the bar. We're going to sew a box to ensure that this doesn't move. If you stop, make sure you're stopping the needle down position. And just make a little box. And what I like to do, just for good measure, this is a smaller bag, so it's not going to be like holding like a bowling bag, a bowling ball or anything. It's just something I naturally do, is I just put a little X in the box. Definitely not needed. It's just something I do. Extra reinforcements, I guess. All right. if you don't want to do that and you're like, hey, no, I want to do rivets, by all means do it. It'll make this bag look super cute. And you're ready to go. So we have our strap all ready to go. I'm going to put this behind me because we're not going to be using it for right now. All right, we're going to now make the cargo pocket. The first thing we're going to do with the cargo pocket is I'm going to put these back ends right here. For the cargo pocket, we're going to grab our piece, our front piece, and I'm going to be doing the cargo top part a little bit different. I have this really cool magnet, and I want it to be featured on the back. So I'm going to take one of my pattern pieces and put it away, and then on the other pattern piece, there are areas that you have to put your magnet snap on. So what I'm doing is I'm going to line this up, and I'm going to draw the 2 lines for where the magnet snap placement is. She does provide where you would need to put the magnet snap on your piece in case you put your pattern piece away. I need to find the back of this pocket piece. Let's see. Where'd you go? Here it is. So I put my woven interfacing on here, and I am now going to place the right side of my pocket, cargo pocket flap together with the right sides of the lining. So with this, I got a panel, and the panel had such cool features other than just the graphics that I used it throughout the pattern. It's just like, this is a really pretty color. And when you see the zipper tape I'm using, you're gonna be like, oh, I understand. So we're gonna be using a 1/2 inch seam allowance to curve around, and you want to curve around. I drew a 1/2 inch for seam allowances on all 3/4 except the top, because we're not doing the top. And then I put the declinal light that they want to have there, and I'm going to pop a clip at the top so this doesn't shift. And now we're going to use a 1/2 inch backstitching well, going all the way around, go over the curve, and come back up and backstitch. 1/2 inch seam allowance. The great thing about Joe's patterns also is that on the beginning of each page, she puts down what the standard seam allowances, the basting, and she does tell you if you need to change your the seam allowance. She does indicate it, so you're not like in the dark, like, what am I supposed to do? So I'm going to backstitch well, and I'm going to use that 1/2 inch. I'm going to go around this curve. Let's see. And I'm going to trim up the threads that are poking out. Remove the clip, and I'm going to get a pair of pinking shears. Now pink up to 1/8 of an inch. Do not go into your stitches. And again, if let's say by chance you weren't paying attention, or dog bark, kids bark, you could just go up 1/8 of an inch and you'll be fine. So we have our remnants, and then we're going to turn it. And then I'm just going to get my little boning tool, bone folder. This is a nice flap. And we're going to top stitch it 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Okay, we have our top stitching. I have my placement. And I'm going to put pins in because I put the placement in the front and forgot to do it in the back. So this is a trick I do. I'll put it on the back, and then I'm going to use chalk because that's black. I'm going to put a line where the placement's going to go. Okay. I'm going to get my magnetic snap. With these magnetic snaps, they come with a lot of components, so let me get it out of the plastic. Alright. First, this magnetic snap has 2 screws. We're going to unscrew them. And sometimes they want to stick. Just give it a nice little twist. Don't strip them. Okay. So I'm going to take the back as my template, and I'm going to match them over with the marks that I made over here. The first brown ones. And this is, because that's where the prongs are going to be, I'm just now going to mark where I need to punch holes. And I'm just triple checking. Always be err on the side of caution, so things won't be crooked, because that will be unfortunate. So now I'm going to grab my hole puncher, and I'm going to punch the holes that I created. Perfect. And I'm going to take my front piece, make sure the magnet's going the right direction. Make sure all the fabric is out. Might need to make the hole a little bit bigger. Okay, hopefully that will work. It's a Hellfire dice, from the season 4 where we met Eddie. So I was like, yes, I'm going to use this. This hardware comes from Thumbs and Thimbles. Winnie makes absolutely gorgeous hardware. And I'm going to put Fray Check over the areas that, this is cotton. You don't want it to continuously fray. And my cap just like flew off. So I'm going to now take my magnetic snap, and I'm going to be using the mel portion, and I'm going to stick it in this. So it's easy. This is where we put the back in, and you can press it to the prongs towards each other or out. I generally like to poke them out. And I'm going to grab the first screw and give it a go. Please, second screw don't disappear. No, good, it's on the magnet. So we have our magnetic snap in the front. Isn't that cute? So we have that done, and we're going to be getting ready to install do the cargo pocket. So I'm going to put this just to the side for right now, and I'm going to grab my cargo pocket, which is piece C, and exterior and interior. So on the interior portion, make sure these, let me get my scissors and trim the excess stabilizer off, because that can go in your seam allowance and just make everything a little wonky. I'm really bad at okay. So we're going to find our center. And again, I have excess stabilizer. Sorry, I'm knocking you guys around. Excess stabilizers on the side. And when it comes down to making pockets, you need the exact measurements. I'm going to take I just had my little scissors. I'm going to take my pattern piece and cut out where the markment of the snaps are. Again, you don't have to do that. Joe provided where the snap marks need to be with measurements. But if you have them written out for you, I mean, on the pattern piece, why not utilize that pattern piece? All right. We have our pattern pieces. We're going to, you can put your magnet snap in right now, but I like to actually put my pattern pieces right sides together and create all the stuff just filled out. Okay. I like to create my my pleats first before I stick the magnet on, because the magnet will like get close to the feeding dogs and needles, and it just kind of acts a little not the best. All right, so I'm going to find my center, and I'm going to mark it with chalk. I'm using a charcoal pen, and then I'm going to connect the lines. This chalk pen wipes off really easy, so it won't mess up the fabric. Just reiterating where the magnet goes. We're going to do 2 inches on each side. I'm doing it on this side too. And then we're going to do 2 3/4. So I'm going to measure 3/4 of an inch on each little side that we just did. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to fold on the 2-inch mark. And we're going to top stitch, oops, we're going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch on both sides. So we're starting with 1. So I go down a few stitches and then a back stitch. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to fold at that 2-inch line and back stitch. Okay. And then we're going to fold at that 3/4, the 2 3/4 of an inch line. And I'm going to pop a clip in it. Take your time. I like how she did the cargo pocket a lot because it's not super bulky when you're trying to when you're trying to put the zipper in. So we have this beautiful pleat. So what we're going to do, I'm going to pop a clip at the end and we're going to tack these down with a basting stitch across the top and the bottom. And I apologize if I'm bumping the cameras around a lot. Usually I have my husband set up the cameras and I set them up. And I made some mistakes, but I actually like how it went through. I mean, I'm trying to do a couple of the videos like while everyone's gone. Normally, I'm doing like making bags for orders or doing housework or getting ready to pick. All my kids come out of school at different times. Like I have one kid that gets out at 2, the other one at 3:15, like all weird times. And so far, they've been in school for 1 month and 2 out of 3 kids were out sick for 3 days. It's just, whew. So I was like, you know what? Let me make this easier and make a couple videos, especially it's football season and my husband watches collegiate, all kinds of football. And he's, when you guys hear him in the background, he's usually making some sounds off of whatever sports he's watching. So we have that one pocket already done and we're going to grab our lining piece real quick. I just had the lining piece. Where did you go? Right there, Shinova. Come on. We're going to find our centers. And we're going to draw. Okay. I'm going to just put chalk again. So it's going to be kind of hard to see on this white one. I couldn't find my gray chalk pen. So the first thing we're going to go is 1 1/8. What I can do is this though. Where's that pen I had? That disappears. Okay. We're going to draw 1 1/8. I'm going to draw a line so you can see the center mark. We're going to draw 1 1/8. And then again, we're going to draw 1 7/8. Dead. So on the other side, ignore this one. I'm going to erase it right now. Yeah, I love these pens. So we're going to draw 1 1/8 from the center. And from the center, we're going to do 1 7/8. All right. So we're going to fold inwardsly on the 1 1/8. And we're going to sew that down using a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, we're going to go on the other side and do the same thing. That's the center mark. This is the 1 1/8. We're going to just I use my ruler, but I'm not drawing all the way down. So matching up the lines, and I'm just going to finger press, remove my plastic Westcott ruler. If you're new to my channel, Westcott rulers are my favorite rulers. They're on Amazon and they're like inexpensive. They're like a few bucks. Each one of the rulers has all the 1/8 inch marks to equal 1 inch, and it just makes my life easier when like there's like an odd thing like draw like 1 1/7 of an inch. It just has all the bar ticks, so it makes it easier. Then we're going to fold the 1/7 of an inch. Let me move this. You pop a clip in it. And do the same thing and fold. I think it's cool, see? They're the same piece. She just has it kind of in reverse. So that way you don't have a lot of bulk in the seam. So we're going to base these parts in place using 1/8 of an inch. And of course my thread wanted to come undone. That's how it works sometimes. Because I didn't hold my tails. Okay, now hold your tail, Charlotte. I'm just putting a basting stitch of 1/8 of an inch. All right. You did the hardest part of this pattern, and it's not that hard. Joe gives really good directions, awesome photographs, and it's altogether great. So then we're going to go to step 16. We're going to place the lining and exteriors right sides together. And you'll notice the pleats line up differently so that the bulk is distributed different. Right sides together, Shinova. You can pop a couple clips just to make sure things don't ship. And then we're going to sew using the seam allowance, which is 3/8 of an inch. This mark right here is my 3/8 of an inch mark. Backstitch well at the beginning and end. If I haven't mentioned it already, I'm sewing on my Juki 5550N. It's an industrial machine that usually it's meant for garments. I changed out the feed dogs with Steve at Sewing Gold to accommodate heavier material. But I use this machine for everything. I'm going to now use my pinking shears and pink inside the lining. It just helps reduce the bulk a little bit more too. Like it spreads for top stitching. And then we're going to press this down. What I like to do is I like to tug down so the lining and the exterior meets, and then I'll put clips at the end so it doesn't roll up. You can use a hump jumper because there are little areas where you're going to go higher and lower, and it would help. You can do a bigger stitch. Take your time. There's no race. And my machine decided to skip a whole bunch of stitches in the middle. So I'm going to remove those threads and try again. I'm going to back stitch. I'm just going to back stitch over this area for some odd reason. I can't find my hump jumper either. I had it in here, but my daughter was in my room, and some things got broken, some things got missing. All right. All right, so I'm removing the excess threads, and then now I'm going to place my female of my magnet. We're not going to poke through to this. We're only going through the exterior. So I'm going to take my washer. I already just triple checking it is in the center. Just going to put another chalk mark there. It's in the center. And oops. And all my chalk decided to spill out. That's awesome. It's just one of those days. Getting a seam ripper, opening this up, and I'm going to grab my washer that I just had, placing my washer on the center mark that I made, and just kind of putting slits. I use my washer as a barrier where it doesn't go past the metal. Put some Fray Check in that area. Stick my magnetic snap on there. Grab my washer. And I like to use electrical tape on the back to help like the fabrics not to rub against metal. You don't have to do this, it's not a must. When I took apart like a Coach bag, I seen that they used like double-sided tape or foam or a lot of different things against the metal. So I was like, it's probably to help prevent, you know, friction and wear and tear. So we have our magnet snap. Now we're going to grab one of our exterior pieces. And I'm using this really pretty faux leather. And we're going to place this on. And I'm going to grab some clips and I'm going to clip it in place. All right, so we're going to flip it from behind and we are going to sew around and above because we can't see the corners. So baste it in place. You can do this at 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Before I trim, I should have done this. I did my pocket a little bit shorter than it should be. So I have like a gap right here. That's not a problem. We have a 3/8 of inch seam allowance, and this will be, it can get caught into the seam. So I will show you how to fix that. First, I gotta need to find my center. I'm marking my centers. It's really important to do that in this bag. It helps tremendously. First, hold on, let me trim my curves and any excess that's hanging out. I think when I wash my fabric, but when I put that, whenever I fuse, for some reason, any kind of cotton or woven, it just shrinks, and I should have accounted for that, and that's my fault. So I'm gonna put this where the center is. Centers matching centers, and I'm just going to baste this in place. And again, it's only like less than, it's a little over 1/8 of an inch. So it'll get caught up in when we baste, when we sew this bag in place. But so far, so good. This is looking really cute. I might want to keep this one for myself. Oh, I've had people message me on YouTube and going to my Gmail. If I make a bag and it's something that you're interested in, you would like to purchase, by all means, you could definitely message me, and I'll be more than willing to either tell you where I can get the material where you can make yourself, or I can make it for you. There's a lot of options out there. I recently got a little bit of an influx, and I was like, I guess I never mentioned my Etsy shop. So there's that. So we're done with this piece. We're going to now go to the back exterior piece. So I'm just going to grab my exterior piece and then my back panels. Again, our back panels have a mark line for our magnets. Sorry, I have chalk everywhere. I didn't know when I opened it, it just popped out everywhere. All right. You know what? Nope. Wrong piece, Nova. Put the magnetic marks on your interior pocket. All right. So we're going to put these together after we make the marks. Again, you can put your piece in right away. I just don't like it when it hits the feed dog plate. It can just start sticking and it can just shift your stitches. We're going to do this at 3/8 of an inch. backstitch in the beginning and end. Trim our threads. Let me pink down my seam allowance. And I'm just rolling my seam. If you have an iron, this is the time to press it. If you don't, you can roll it with the seam roller. You know, my seam roller is never around when I say roll it with the seam roller, or you can roll it with your fingers and kind of just finger press it. We're going to top stitch it at 1/8 of an inch. Okay. No one can resist that. It's so cute. Sorry. So we're going to take our lining piece and we're going to place the female portion of the magnet. No, the male part. I apologize. We're going to place the male part on here. I'm going to get my, they want to come out of the little plastic bag. Again, take my seam ripper and just do a little slit. Grab my Fray Check. Get the mill. And down the palm. And if you don't have Hulk hands like me, you know, you can use a pair of the back end of a scissors or a flat tool or whatever it helps you. All right, so we have that. And then to figure out where to place the female part, you're going to find your centers. Always find your centers. Pop the clip. It just helps in the long run. I seen recently too on my Facebook feed that Art Expressions, which I've used their templates before on my channel, has this bag template. Oh, that is definitely on my Christmas wish list. I have a feeling like this bag is going to be wildly popular in for sales because it's a perfect everyday bag. So I'm going to match my centers to the bottom of this bag, and I'm just going to press down on this clip here and a clip here. I'm going to press down on this magnetic snap, and I'm going to draw a mark on where this snap needs to be. I'm just making sure it's on the center. This is faux leather that I got from, I believe, Joann's in the upholstery section a many moons ago. And I didn't have enough to make straps or anything, and I've been like holding on to it because it's really pretty distressed fabric. And because this bag is not so big, I was able to use it. I'm like, yes, finally. It has like a nice soft flannel back, and it's, as you can tell, it's very thin. Like, it's super domestic friendly. So sometimes if you have if you are in America and you have a Joann's, you might be able to find a really nice upholstery like faux leathers for not that expensive. If you are in the US, my other suggestion I tell people to do is to look at your boating supply company. If there's a harbor by you, there's chances are people that patch up boats, and sometimes they have scrap of fabric that they can't use. And clip it. Okay. I'm just going to clip it, and I have like a little bit of 1/4 of an inch higher. I'm just like killing it with not matching up things today. We're going to do the same thing, and we're going to base it from behind so that way we can hit that curve. I promise you, my second and my third bag didn't do this. It's like I get camera shy or something. I can't put my finger on it. Or maybe I should be better prepared. It's definitely my fault, but it is what it is. At least you guys get to see my mistakes and how I fix them, and therefore that you can fix your mistakes if it happens. Hopefully it won't. Knock on wood. Cutting over any excess over. And then what I'm going to do, just to be on the safe side, because this will get caught in the seam allowance, but if it's not tacked down, it's harder to get caught in the seam allowance. So I'm just going to put the tack down on here, so that way it can get caught in the seam allowance. All right, so we're going to put those two aside, put our pattern piece in aside, and we are going to work on let's see. We're going to work on the gusset. Apologize. So this part is really interesting too. She explained something in the gusset that I haven't heard a lot of designers do. You can do every seam absolutely right according to the pattern with the gusset, and then somehow, some way, your gusset piece is like bigger or smaller than the zipper panel piece, and then it could just be super frustrating because you're like, wait, I did everything I was supposed to do. So we're going to get the zipper panels, the gusset bottom, and then our zipper tape. So we're going to get your zipper tape And the zipper tape is a little bit longer, just a little bit longer on both sides. And I was also glad she did that. Zipper tape can be really daunting. And I've had it where I turned out a bag, and because I didn't leave like zipper ends, the zipper pull somehow came off, and I was so mad. And then I seen someone say, hey, every time you do a zipper, leave a little bit of tails, because it helps tremendously in the end. So I'm going to find my center marks on my zipper, and I'm going to put them, I'm going to put a little orange mark so you can definitely see the middle. All right. Each one of my pieces, I'm going to do a little snip to find the center. And the same thing with the lining pieces. I'm using waterproof canvas for the inside. I like waterproof canvas, yes, because you don't need to have woven interfacing to stabilize it. But mostly I like it is because if I spill like lipstick, makeup, something, candy, whatever, I can just wipe it up and call it a day. All right. So I'm going to grab an exterior piece. And match it. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Now you can go and base the lining to the wrong side of the zipper tape ahead of time. Or you could just go rogue like me and try to just sandwich everything in and get it in one felt swoop. Just want to make sure everything matched up with the centers. All right. And we're going to sew this at 3/8 of an inch. Backstitch. Also, it looks like I have a piece that is, this piece has a stretch to it. So when I do some trimming, it'll be trimming off. I should have put woven interface on that so there's no stretch. It is thinner and I should have thought of that. But que sera, sera, right? I'm pulling the lining to meet the exterior, and then I'm matching them as best as I can before I top stitch. All right, I'm going to top stitch at 1/8 of an inch. And as I'm doing that, I'm just going to pull the lining and the exterior nice and taut, so that way the zipper doesn't get sunk in. wrapping my other piece. Oops. I keep breaking clips today too. Okay. 3/8 of an inch. Okay. If you're using all cotton, you can press your lining in the exterior. I have made the bag so far with cotton, cork, vinyl. I've made a couple of these bags. I think I'm fair to say I'm kind of addicted. It's a really cute pattern. I haven't figured out what style I'm going to make. I was thinking about making a Princess Leia one for myself, or I haven't decided, to be honest with you, or something like Tim Burton Nightmare Before Christmas, or The Labyrinth. Okay, let me get these strings. All right, we got our pieces. All right, now we'll put our zipper tabs on, and I made these really cool. I had some excess leather, and so I decided to make these really cool pulls with the iridescent hardware. I thought it'd be really pretty. Now, what she did in this next step was super important. She said, measure your gusset. If there's a difference, you need to remove it because the excess. So what I did is, while I'm at the table, I'll clip the zipper panel onto the gusset, and then I will just draw where I need to cut. You can bring this over to your table too and use a rotary, but that would be a whole different setup process right now. So I'm just putting the raw edges, and just looking at where I need to cut. And then I will snip that excess off. so that my bottom gusset matches my zipper gusset. I was really happy when she said that, because there's been countless times where I've made a bag and the zipper panel gusset is smaller than the bottom gusset, and I'm like, it's not going to fit. There's some pattern designers that do it purposely like that because they want, you know, to be wider at the bottom and more narrow at the top. But I really appreciate her offering and saying this, like, hey, you could have do all the positions right and there's still going to be excess. So just take that extra time to make sure you snip everything and cut it down to where it's supposed to be, so that way it can be easier on you. All right, now I'm going to go grab the tabs that we made, and we are going to put that 1/2 inch mark that we made. We're going to leave that hanging, and we're going to base this in place using 1/8 of an inch. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on this side. That line, that 1/2 inch line we made. Okay, then we're going to, we checked and we already made the match like we did on figure 12, and we're going to put the lining piece right sides up to the lining piece, and place that down, and then we're going to put the exterior piece right on top of the exterior. And then just to make sure nothing shifts, you can place clips on the side that's not going to be in the area of the seam allowance that we're going to be sewing. And we're going to sew this at a 3/8 of an inch. Backstitch really well at the beginning and end. Take your time. You're going over a nice little seam. And then we're going to top stitch. I'm going to do increase the top stitching because it skipped a stitch. Again, you won't have a skip stitch if you probably use a bigger needle. I'm using a 1/16 organ needle, and my daughter was in my room, so I cannot find my job jumper to save my life. I searched. She's a little creative mind, and she likes to use mommy stuff. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. And I just like to grab a clip and put it on either side that's not going to be in the seam allowance, so that way it doesn't shift that much. And then we're going to top stitch that side down on the exterior. Okay. Okay, so one step I forgot to do is put in our foam pieces. So one of the reasons why this is really a domestic friendly machine is that she takes her pieces and you tuck them in. You tuck them in so that they're not in your seam allowance, and you just sew the lining and the exterior closed. And you're not like sewing over foam. It's actually really cool. So I'm just tucking this in, and I'm going to tuck them in. Now, if you had to reduce your exterior bottom because it was too wide, you might want to reduce the foam piece on the bottom so that way you're not having to sew over foam is not needed. But the great thing about foam, the more you sew over it, the flatter it gets. So it's your discretion, your call. So I'm going to base a close the zipper panel, and then we'll work on the exterior bottom panel. So I'm closing that off. You're just basting it at 1/8 of an inch. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to base down this one side over here. And you'll see why. Okay. This fabric does not want to it stretches. Now I'm probably wondering why I kept it in there. I was like, yeah, no, that's not. Where is it? It's not used. It stretches too. Some faux leather stretch a lot. That's where you can get some of your puckering and different things. I'm going to change out my presser foot to a regular presser foot and not the narrow foot. That should help with some of the composition. Here are my puppies. I'm just like batting 1,000 with this Phillips screwdriver. All right. I'm going to stick this in. And just stuffing the bottom foam piece. So I'm going to now close up the other side of the zipper panel and then sew the other side of the gusset bottom down. Okay, so that's all sewn down. Set to one side over here. Okay. All right, so now we're going to trim up our excess threads. And we're going to find our center. So I clip the seam to seam. Going to, if you see any extra hanging over, just remove it now, so that way when you're doing your 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, it doesn't like make extra parts of your seams. So I'm going to clip both sides, and I'm going to find my center on the bottom. And find my centers on the top. And I'm just clipping a little bit in, not a lot. And then we're going to follow on step 21 and match our seams. And we're going to find our centers marks with those. Trust me when I say this helps tremendously now. I know you're like, hey, I could just put it around, but there's a reason. Follow Follow the process and you're going to be really happy with it. I promise you. This bag is pretty epic. It's very unusual. And what I like about it the most is that, again, if you're in the sewing community and you know who Bed Hog is, Amy, then you know she makes some of the most incredible bags, whether it's fandom or, you know, really boho chic and upscale. And for a designer like Joe to come in and they collaborate, it is epic. Like, it's seriously epic thing. Like, it's really cool that somebody, because like it could be someone like me that I cannot write a pattern to save my life, because you have to do seam allowances, fitting adjustments, all that stuff in a perfect gusset. But I have patterns, designs in my head, but I will never create a pattern because I know it would just be too much. And I feel like designers are these like fantastic artists that can make you create a bag that's a work of art. So for her to recognize, you know, this person in our sewing community is making really nice bags and modifications and they work together, I just think it's a chef's kiss. It's absolutely beautiful. So let's get back to this. We made our center marks and we're going to start with our lining. I'm going to put this to the side. We're going to get our lining slip pockets. There's 4. This is going to be for the zipper. This is going to be for our slip pocket. And we're going to draw 1 inch up. On the bottom. And then what you can do is you can put, you could press it, but since I don't have my press, I'm going to take some double-sided tape and just put it at the line. I work from home. All right. And then I'm just going to finger press it. And then if you were at a machine, at your ironing board, you would just press it up to that 1 inch line. And then do the same on this piece. And we're going to sew these up using 1/4 of an inch seam allowance on the sides only. Backstitch well at the beginning and end. I'm going to bring my threads over and not drop my ruler, but I do. And backstitch well at the beginning and end. Trim any excess threads. And then we're going to turn this right sides out. Finger press. Isn't that cool? Because this is the bottom of your bag, but look how neat and clean that is. Then we're going to take our pocket trim and we are going to fold it over. I'm going to grab double-sided tape and put it on one side to help me because I can't place pins. And I'm going to mark a 1/2 inch on here so I know where to place the back of this so that it can meet. Trim that up so it's even. And then we're going to fold this over. And we're going to top stitch. And just pop some clips, or you can put double-sided tape on the other side. If your machine is not a fan of double-sided tape, you can always use Dritz wash away tape, or there's one by Serial Bag Maker that is really friendly to machines, and or you can use glue. Let me grab my stiletto. The reason why I think I like my narrow foot so much is I don't have to use a stiletto as much because I can see everything in front of me, and I don't need, and I can put my finger down and it's like narrow. So okay, and then I'm going to trim off the excess. All right, so we have our slip pocket. And we are going to take one of our lining pieces. This is actually kind of a cool thing. We're going to place the pocket 1 inch above from the bottom edge. Okay. I'm just going to find the center. So I'm going 1 inch above the line, and I'm just going to fold this, clip this. And then I'm going to fold this and clip this. So now I can sew this down, and I can remove clips as I go. We're not sewing over the lining. It's just holding the position so the slip pocket doesn't go anywhere. It's genius. It is like literally genius. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'm going to use a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go up 1 stitch above my trim. And then when I get off the trim, I'm going to, this is just something I do. I'm going to turn the fabric towards me, go over 2 stitches, back stitch, go over 1 stitch, back stitch, and go back to the 1/8 of an inch. This is called a bar tack. It helps keep reinforcements, so as you're slipping in and out, it won't wear and tear and have the stitches come out. Now, when we get to the bottom, we can remove our clips, shift, and it's exactly at that 1 inch mark. Okay, so before I get to this trim, I'm going to stop. 1, 2, 3. backstitch. And it's just something I do. You don't have to do that. It's incredible reinforcement. You can also place rivets on this, but make sure if you do rivets, have something like a washer, like a fabric or a leather or a vinyl washer on the back, so that way if they're using this wear and tear, it doesn't, the rivet doesn't just pop through. All right. I'm trimming up any excess threads. We have that. And now we're going to grab our other lining piece. And I'm using the same vinyl to create a I'm using the other vinyl to create a zipper facing. I just added. Okay. I'm going to put double-sided tape on the placket. And then I'm going to find my centers. And after we do this part, we're going to be part of the final construction. And we're going to put the overlay piece, I'm going to do it 1.5 inches down. I'm just going to take a piece of chalk real quick and draw the center on just the top part, so I can make sure that if you guys see me bending down, I have trash cans on both sides of me because I'm really bad at having a trash can underneath my table. Making sure it lines up at 1.5 inch, and we're going to sew all the way around this using 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I like to start at the side. I'm going to back stitch. You can pull your threads to the back if you wish. But I noticed when I have darker color fabric, you really can't see the back stitch that much. Okay, we got that all squared away. We're going to cut out the box. Just going to It doesn't have to be all neat and pretty. As you can see, mine is all jagged. You can get it as clean as you possibly can. You're just removing the bulk, so when you put the zipper in, you can place it down and you have a nice clean finish. I'm gonna grab my zipper. Wrong zipper. Still the wrong one. Okay. I'm gonna grab my zipper and use the edges, and I'm going to grab one of my zipper slip pockets and I'm going to baste it on at 1/4 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch. Again, it's personal preference because you're not going to cut into it, so either way. And I'm just going to cut down zipper tape. There are zipper measurements in the very beginning of the book. I just have a real bad tendency of like cutting the tape while I'm sewing it. And then we're going to grab our other zipper and we're going to sew the wrong sides of the zipper tape to the right sides of the lining. Let's see. I am batting 1,000 with this thread today, man. Maybe that's why I had it hidden away. I was like, oh, I'm going to use it. I mean, the color variants are really pretty. Like, it focuses heavily on, like, the darker colors in the color wheel. And I was like, oh, cool. It'll feel like Stranger Things, like dark rainbow. Okay, and basting this on. All right, and I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to get the zipper pull. I'm going to put that on real quick. Okay, I'm going to have the zipper pull in the middle. I'm going to flatten this out. I'm going to grab my double-sided tape. I'm going to put it, it's 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to put it on both ends of the zipper. Okay. So I'm going to pull this off, the tape off. And what you can do is open it up and there's also another method in here where they use a zipper facing. So that way you don't have to, like a zipper. One's a placket, one's a facing. This is a placket. The facing is like when you get a piece of lining and you draw the box and you pull it through so that you don't have to have a placket if you don't wish. All right. So what we're going to do is we have this open. We're going to sew around the whole entire box at 1/8 of an inch. Again, you can pull your threads to the back if you don't want them to be seen, or you can backstitch. To be honest with you, I love to backstitch over the zipper in part because I figure that's an area that's going to get a lot of attention as you're opening and closing your bag. So the zipper linings are wide open, as you can see both sides at the ends. And it's all clean in there. And then we're going to put the zipper lining closed, the lining closed, and then we're going to cut off this excess amount. It's roughly about 1 inch. This is a binding, we're not birthing, so we don't need to have like it open. So I'm going to grab this side and I'm going to close off this. Well, you can trim off any excess if you want. If you don't have to, though. I don't know. I'm so used to doing it. Trim all the threads. And we have your lining done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our pieces and we're going to be making some marks. And we're going to base some pieces together. Now, this is all personal preference. You have one lining that has a slip pocket, one lining has a zipper. This is the front. You can have either the zip pocket or the slip pocket go. Some people like to have the slip pocket on the back panel so you can unzip it and it's visible. But like my mother, she likes to have, or my friends, they like to have the zip pocket close to the opening, so that way it seems hidden and no one sees it and they can slip their cell phone in and out. It's, again, all personal preference. We're going to clip this together because we're going to do some basting of these, and then we're going to add our foam. Just adding some clips. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to base these two pieces together using 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to leave an opening at the top so we can slip our foam in. Okay, I'm going to trim threads. I'm going to take one of my foam pieces and I'm just going to kind of fold it up and slip it inside. And open it up. Just place it in there nice and gently. And then I'm gonna just finish closing that up. You don't have to because it's gonna get caught in the seam allowance. It's easier just to close it up so that way like all pieces are become totally one, you know. All right, so we have one, and then I'm going to grab this and do the same thing. Make sure right sides are facing, because I made one of the bags and I accidentally did this, and then I had to unpick all the bag. You're like, man, I just did all this work in one simple mistake, right? That's all it takes. There goes the clip. We're going to start back stitching. Okay, I'm going to grab my other foam piece. These threads. Okay, and then close up that. Okay, so now we're going to make some markings on our pieces to help. First, definitely make sure you have your center marks. That is tremendously important. And you use chalk or whatever you have available. Okay, and then on your actual pattern piece, there are lines for your center marks. You can put these on the outside, you can put these on the inside, whatever's easier. On the inside, you can just do it within your seam allowance, and you can just mark. Then just double check finding your centers. Okay, and here we go. All right, so we're going to need clips and a lot of room, so I'm going to move some of these cutting tools and writing tools, and we need a lot of clips. Well, I do. You use as many as you wish to use. There's no right or wrong answer. All right, so we're going to turn these inside out. I like to put 2 clips on the center marks at the bottom and top. matching the center marks with the exterior. Okay, so I have those marks, and then I'm going to start clipping around. Just take your time. This is one of the reasons why I always use like a lot of clips, because I don't like having any ripples. Okay, and then I'm going to fold down this and then clip, because we're going to be making some snips. Clip on the sides. All right, so there's some excess lining that's sticking out. There's like more than 1/4 of an inch, and I don't want that to take into my seam allowance. So on this side, you can see that it doesn't quite meet. Our seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch, so I'm going to take a pair of scissors and I'm going to make little snips around the curve, no more than 1/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to see if that helps ease the gusset. If it doesn't, make a few more. Don't go higher than 1/4 of an inch. And you can kind of see after you do that, it kind of spreads out the bulk. Give me a second. Again, yeah, my lining is bulging out and it didn't cut the exterior in the snip, so that actually did nothing to help. So I'm going to re-snip. And make sure the bulk is spreading out, and it is. And we're going to do it again. This one, you can see that both pieces are lined up better than the other side. And you can see as you're doing the little snips, you can feel the fabric give a little bit, and that's a good sign. Just a little bit more snipping. Okay. And then we're going to machine base this at 3/8 of an inch. I usually go like a scant lower. Hopefully my machine doesn't act up. Ever since I had a little Hopi tamper with it. So take your time. I use a stiletto to help be the finger to get close as possible. Pulling at fabrics that are trying to shift. And if I have a crinkle or your wrinkles above where you're sewing, not below the stitch line. Oops, don't stab yourself with the stiletto. Okay, so we're going to start binding this side. I'm just making sure that I remove the excess, any excess like lining pieces that are sticking out, because it's annoying. So what you're going to do now is that you're going to, before we bind it, you want to make sure everything is caught in the seam. See, like that's all caught, but this didn't catch. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to sew at 3/8 of an inch on this one, because I think I went 1/4 of an inch, and to make sure it gets caught in the seam. Let's see if that helps. If not, picking, I will pick it. Nope, it did not. So hold on, because you definitely need to make sure that that gets caught in the seam, or when you turn your bag inside out, you're going to be like, no. Now be careful, because vinyl it doesn't like to be unpicked. It's okay. I will unpick this, and then we will put it together again. We're only unpicking that part where it didn't take last time, because I'm going to make sure that I pay attention a lot to that side. Okay. And it's good that we caught this before we started binding, and we're like, oh man, this is not good. This is not good. Okay, so now let's see. And now it's caught. So, and just for good measure, because it is the flap, I can just go 1/8 of an inch lower. I have picked up Decoville. I have picked up a whole bunch of slew of thread. Okay. All right. I'm going to be pulling out threads, I can see. But it's all enclosed. So what she did is similar to what I do. For binding, I usually try to use some kind of twill tape, or I like twill tape a lot. I like to start off with one long piece and clip it, making sure that the stitches are both covered on both sides. Hear me out. It always doesn't work for me, but when it does, I'm super happy. And I'm just trimming up areas that I know are a little bit bulky so that I can do this with ease. Okay. So that Decoville light is really trying to stay in there. Okay, so what I do is I take both sides and I just kind of clip it all the way around. It's like a hit or a miss with me. Sometimes it works. You can also do a fold over elastic. A lot of the people that I think are my bag gurus that make the best bags ever, they love fold over elastic. They say it's easier, it's a very sharp, and it's a nice tight fit. I like twill tape because there's no stretch, but it looks really neat against the bag, and it comes in an array of different colors. And I usually buy my twill tape from, I'm going to trim down this curve. I buy my twill tape from like corset makers sites, like people that make corsets and bras. They usually have really nice twill tape colors in their shops, because twill tape is what they use on the inside of a corset to keep the corset from not shifting. It's called waist tape. It's the same thing. It's twill tape. So I'm hoping that because I'm doing this I'm filming, that this gets done in one fell swoop. But normally, I'm not gonna lie, there's always like a piece I have to go back around for, and it doesn't bug me as long as this is not a big bag, so it's not gonna bug me. But this is my favorite method to bind, is using twill tape, and I have like so many colors. But the colors I usually stick to are like khakis and tans, because that's usually the lining color I like to use. I like to use a lighter lining color. Then I'm going to go a little bit above that little tail that we made over there. And I'm going to clip this in place. And then I'm going to fold this part over. I'm going to fold this part over and clip that. So we have this all clipped, and I kind of hold it up to the machine like this, and I sew at 3/8 of an inch. I back stitch, and me and my stiletto become one. Now you could do this flat. When I do the other side, I will do it flat. I just found it easier to do it like or standing upright. If you're on your domestic machine, use your free arm. Man, that's a game changer. If your domestic machine doesn't have a free arm, you can put a couple books underneath and make it your own little free arm. I've seen a lot of people do that. It's pretty cool. Oh, I ran out of bobbin. That's also the great thing about domestics. Your machine tells you when you run out of tape. I mean, a bobbin. Mine does not. I know that they have some industrial machines that are computerized. I was watching somebody do one and it was like bobbins low. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Can my machine do that? No, because it's not computerized. I know it probably costs like buku bucks, like so much money. Can you imagine that? You have industrial or semi-industrial and it's like, yeah, your bobbin's low. That would save so much time. I know my domestic brother's machine does that. But then the sensor stopped working 2 years after I purchased it. So that was a bummer. That can happen though. Sorry, I had to drink some water. Somebody was telling me on their Juki QVP Mini that their threader stopped working after 2 years. I was like, that's the thing about machines. Sometimes they... And my machine just decided... I'm going to just rethread it because it's to the point now that it's just messing up a lot. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, that could happen with domestics too. Sometimes things don't work. I had, with this machine, I bought it where it has a servo motor, but it had a stitch regulator where the needle's supposed to be down every single time I take my foot off the presser, and it didn't work. And I tried to reset it like 6 times, and then I just gave up and I was like, whatever, I'll just do my hand. I'll hand wheel it. I need to reset it again. It's like codes that you put into the servo motor, and it's a pretty cool thing because on my other 2 Jukis, I have that feature. No, sorry, I don't have that on my free arm. Only on my 1541. And it is definitely a game changer to me because that's like one less thing you have to worry about is that you didn't stop down in the needle down position. But when I went, before the pandemic, when I went to this class, I got to mess around with the brother. I think it's like the PL 1500. It's a straight stitch machine. Oh, that machine was beautiful. It had a bobbin warning too, I believe. So take your time. This is actually a really good bag to practice binding because it's not very big. It's like the perfect crossbody size. And it's like a good, like I want to make like a Minecraft one for my son because it looks like a little baby miniature, a messenger bag. And he has like his Switch and all his little games, and He likes playing Minecraft and Roblox. I was like, oh, this would be a cute bag. This would be a super cute bag. So I'm contemplating on that. Doing that for Christmas gift and embroider his name on there. Alright, so I know I'm going to have to go around the other side because with all the bobbin issues I had and the top stitching, I already know, but to see how most of it got taken in before the debacle of my bobbin and the top threading. My bobbin is not wanting to cooperate. Having the thread colors match your binding helps tremendously too. So if you make a mistake, then you're like, okay, cool. Nobody's going to see. And trust me, if you look in some of these name brand bags, they have mistakes as well. So I'm going to go start over on the area that I can see did not get caught. And I'm just going to backstitch and just pull the binding towards it, towards the stitches to cover it up. So I'm starting to talk about to a couple pattern designers that are like indie patterns that you can get at your local quilt shop or online. Their paper patterns to see for some cool sewing tutorials. Because I cannot believe that by the time you watch this video, it's probably going to be October 1st or like October 2nd or 3rd. I'm still like amazed that we're towards the end of the year when it just felt like it started. That's how it goes. All right. I'm going to trim these threads. All right, so we have our exterior, and then I'm just to show you, you can poke it out. Still have a lot of threads to trim. And you can see how the bag is coming together and how the lining got caught in there. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. All right, let's get done with the second half and then we'll do the finished construction. Folding this back in. And while you're out over here, just briefly go through and make sure you trimmed out all your threads. Okay, so we're going to start with this. I'm going to match the bottom and top points. Make sure that they're going in the same direction. 2 clips on both sides. Then I'm going to match the center seams. the V to the line. Okay, and then I'm just going to match raw edges to raw edges. Okay. Take your time. I mean, you could use staples if you wish. I'm kind of afraid. Sometimes I use staples and I'm like, yes, this is the best thing ever. Then like a staple will hit the bed of my machine and I'm like, this is the worst decision I've ever made. And then I'm going to put a couple clips on the bottom. And then I'm going to clip in our curve area to make sure it fits. Like I said, no more than 1/4 of an inch. I do it a little bit around, a little bit more to make sure that the ease goes really nicely in the curve. Trimming that excess off. Just trimming. I have like excess not vinyl but waterproof canvas that's poking through, and I'm just not wanting to have that in my seam allowance. I don't want to mess up on this part. Okay. All right. So you can start wherever you wish, whatever's easier for you. And I'm going to start just right here, and we're going to do a scant smaller than 3/8 of an inch. You could do exactly 3/8 of an inch if you're using cotton. But because I'm using waterproof canvas and vinyl, I don't want to like perforate the vinyl, having too many puncture holes. And just your back's going to get a little squishy. And it's okay because it's going to recover really nicely. You're almost done. You're at that home stretch. Okay, so you want to trim your threads. And then I go around the curves just to take like a little bit of extra off, so that way it can, when I put the binding on there, it's not rolling. You don't have to do that. You can definitely leave it on. It's just something I don't know, because I like to take wherever there's like a little bit of thicker part, I like to go within the seam allowance and just trim it so the binding has like a better ease. Okay, and then what I do is I open up my bag, and then you can flip it just to make sure you catch everything. You can just look at the bottom. You can stick a flashlight, use your fingers, whatever you need to do to make sure that everything is encased. And I believe everything's encased. So I'm going to start now the binding process. It's the same thing. You know how people are like, I wish I have a fabric wash fairy where they come in and wash the fabric. I wish I had someone that can come and trim all my threads, because I don't know what I do, but somehow, some way, I end up with like a bazillion threads. Again, I start at the very top because when you look into the bag, no one recognizes the binding at the top. They always recognize the binding at the bottom or the side. So, all right, I'm going to have a towel, and then I'm just going to make sure both sides are covering previous stitching. I'm definitely going to try the fold over elastic one day. I have tons of it, so there's like no reason why I shouldn't try it. It's just like, it's really small. I think it's like 5/8 of an inch or something. I feel like I'm pushing my luck with the 1-inch twill tape. But the people that use it like swear by it, because it just gives a nice firm binding and it looks really nice. But I'm wondering if they do the same thing I'm doing, like clipping it both sides and, you know, praying to the fabric people above that everything gets caught in the stitches. Going to cut the intel and fold over. All right, so we are now going to start sewing this bottom one. We're going to sew it at 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to start having your bag open helps you navigate the curves a little bit better. Oops, my machine did not like that. Okay. So my needle is completely bent. Okay, at least it didn't break, but it bent, so you can't use that needle anymore. I'm just going to grab again, it's an Organ 116. I mean, it didn't break, so it just bent, which is super weird. Make sure when you if you have an industrial, you want to make sure that you place your needle in the right direction, because sometimes that can help. That can cause thread breakage or shredding. I've done it a bazillion times by accident. Okay. And okay. Great. All right. Let's get this party started. Put some clips. And let's redo this. A few back stitches. I have a funny feeling Loki's about to make an appearance. Hi, Pop Pop. I know. I know, Pop Pop. You got your loving that you need, Pop Pops. I know. You see, B? I know. I know. Just lay down. I'm almost done. Okay? He talks a lot. Okay, I'll be right back. I have to take him outside. So my dog is very interesting. If his food bowl doesn't have food in it, he comes down here with his bowl. He has to get puppy loving. Almost to like an hour exactly, he'll come down here just to get pets and to talk. He's a Daniff, which is a Great Dane and Cane Corso mix. He is a gentle giant. Now, my other dog, her name is Roxy. She's 7. And that is my ride or die chick. Like, she will protect this house with every little ferocity of her little body. She's half Rottweiler and something else. We got her from, she's a rescue. She is amazing. There's no words for Roxy. That's like just my girl. She's quiet until somebody's knocking at the door. Then all Hades breaks loose. But Loki, he's just one, and he truly is a baby in every sense. And I'm his person. He's also a spot stiller. We're not used to that, but everybody that we know that has like a Great Dane, they're like, oh yeah, they still spots. And I'm like, what? You sit somewhere and let's say you go to the restroom, come back, he's there. If you're laying in your bed and you're going to go get something to drink, he comes in your spot. It just, that's his personality. He'll look at you like, what? You left and it's warm. And you're like, okay. And he's really cute, so he gets away with a lot. He is super cute. Oh, shucky, sucky, quack, quack. It took all, it got all of it. See, Joe, your method works. Sometimes it does it, and then sometimes, whoop. And I feel like with practice it'll be perfect. So I'm really excited about this. Every edge got caught up, and I'm just trimming the threads. And we are going to, let me see, we're gonna birth it. So what I do is I take a corner, stick my hand in the back, take the corner, and I just flip it inside out. It's a soft bag. We're using, flex foam, or you can use by Annie or style foam. Any foam good. I can see a headliner foam. You're not really sewing through it because it's just in between the layers. And when you're in here, just roll out your binding. Okay, I'm going to zip this up. Oh yeah, this is cute. Okay, so we're on the last step, and that is putting your strap that we just made in. All right, so we have this. We want to feed one end you want to make sure your strap is all going in the same direction. So we fed one end of the strap in. We fed one end of the strap. We took this and we put it going down towards the bag, into the bag. Then we're going to pull this up and you'll see your tri-glider. You're going to put it through, up. And I usually pull it all the way up to make sure nothing is wonky before. And slide it through the top part of the tri-glider. We have one part. Then we're going to take our other end and we're going to slide it in and we're going to sew it. But before you sew it, pull this out. Make sure everything's straight, nothing's twisted. and we are going to make a box like we did in the beginning. It gets a little wonky because you're now squishing your bag, but it's worth it. Just make a little box. We're going to go forward, back. And then, like I said, I like to make a little X. I'm going to get a little squishy with my bag. Backstitch. And finish off this X. And pretty much getting all this extra furs, threads off. Pretty much this is your bag. Now, again, I can't stress this enough. Go in and really press your seam with your hand or stuffing your bag. You have this super cute little bag that has a really nice flap, a beautiful back. You have two zippers. I did two zipper pulls, and you have a slip pocket in the back with more threads, and you have a zipper pocket in the front. I did it the opposite way. You can do it whatever way you want. It's dealer's choice. And that, my friends, is it. If you would like me to see more Country Cow designs, if you're on her website and you're like, hey, I want to try the low end, or I want to try this, put it down below. I'll definitely ask Joe if I can do it, and I will try to make that happen. If you have Country Cow patterns and you're looking for templates in the US, there's Art Expressions. I will put her information before. I use her ruler, the almighty ruler, for everything. So, especially rivet placements. So you have that. You can do that. And you have the option also of, yeah, Art Expressions is who Country Cow goes through. If you have questions in reference to this bag or for a different method, please leave your comment down below. I just wanted to come and share this tutorial with you. If you're looking for backstitch for Stranger Thing fabric, I will put the link to Backstitch's Facebook group, and join the Facebook group because that's when they explain to you when the rounds are open. Because it's a pre-order. You can order as much as you need. If you want to make a dress, you want to make Christmas gifts, or whatever you want to make, or presents, or just because you're Epic Stranger Things fan too, you can definitely follow their Facebook group. So I think I put everything. If you can like, comment, subscribe, and share if you think this video is worth it. It helps out the channel. And I want to say thank you for watching me, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. Happy sewing. Oh, and for the people that are being affected from Hurricane Ivan and Fiona, my thoughts are with you. And I know everybody here's thoughts are with you. Stay safe.